Man, here we go again. Where do I get started? So, there was a shooting in Detroit. A young man lost his life. The problem was he pulled a gun and actually shot at the officer's head. Tried to kill the officers. His buddy was getting arrested, so he felt the need to try to kill the cops. Well, the cops shot him and killed him.
James Craig needs to tell the truth.
Hakeem Littleton's older brother, Rashad Littleton Schaefer, speaking out against what he calls a crime before a group of protesters organized by Detroit Will Breathe.
I want justice.
Even despite the video evidence, Rashad is refusing to believe how the incident played out. Many protesters by his side took to the streets to voice their opinions on major roadways like Livernois and Outer Drive, along with several residential streets as well.
I want Chief James Craig to stop lying because he's not making sense. And with the cop, he said, "Good job, Ford." That's not a good job in the city of Detroit.
You know, it's tragic when anyone loses their life. But guys, I keep saying that over and over and over. Why do we not see lawyers, engineers, doctors? We don't see these people having problems. We see gangbangers and thugs having these problems, career criminals. As a matter of fact, the guy the police were there to arrest was wanted for a triple homicide. And if you know anything about Detroit and you know anything about crime statistics, if you know anything about that and you actually study it and pay attention, what you will notice, most crimes committed against white people are committed by white people. Most crimes committed against black people are committed by other black people. So more than likely, he was wanted for the murder of, or the alleged murder of 3 people, more than likely black, if you look at the statistics. Now, Black Lives Matter was not there to protest him, even though, you know, he was wanted for that triple homicide. Black Lives Matter has not been there to protest any of the dozen children that have been killed as of late. This kind of story right here shows exactly what I'm talking about. It proves the narrative. It proves the false narrative. You had a guy try to kill police. The police shot him on video in self-defense. And you still have these BLM protesters, majority white, because it's actually not a black movement, it's actually a Democratic-led movement. And if you do research on it, you'll see that it's actually a globalist movement set up by George Soros and the Democratic Party. All that money goes to them. They donate, they funnel it through charities. The way it's set up, since Black Lives Matter itself is set up to where if I donate money to that cause, I can't write it out on my taxes. They actually partnered up with another organization so they could get the tax write-offs so people would donate more money. But it's all still traced back to funded by George Soros, and it all still, if you trace the money, it all still goes back around into the Democratic Party. That being said, that's why I say I do not believe in the movement. I believe it's a false narrative because of those facts. It has nothing to do with skin color. I could give a shit less about skin color. Anybody that knows me knows that. As a matter of fact, when all this corona stuff started, shout out to Big Baby, I'm about to talk about you. When all this corona stuff started, Big Baby calls me up. She says, "Hey, Jamie, guess what?" Well, she calls me Mr. Jones. I don't know why, that's her. But she said, "Mr. Jones, guess what?" "What you got, Big Baby?" "Well, Mr. Jones, I can't find no ammo." "What you mean you can't find no ammo, Big Baby? You didn't stock up on no ammo?" "Well, no, I waited too late to go get some." "All right, cool. You know, what you need?" She tells me what kinds of rounds she needs. Bam. Free of charge, no cost to her. I got plenty stockpiled. I grabbed her some up, passed it off to her. Big Baby is African American. She is a lesbian. And she is I consider one of my closest friends. She's a very hard worker. She's very dedicated. and I just happen to like her. But because she was in that tough situation, there again, I didn't give a shit about skin color. I didn't give a shit about sexual orientation. That was Big Baby. She needed help. I helped her. That's the way the world's supposed to be. People got to start looking past skin color. Let's get this shit gone, because we're making ourselves look like fucking idiots here. These BLM protesters in Detroit right now, protesting this shooting, they're really making themselves look like idiots. They are proving the point that it's a false narrative. If you're going to protest something that matters. Don't protest some thug out there shooting at cops, getting himself killed. He got himself killed. And his brother's sitting there saying, well, I want justice. Well, guess what, dude? A, read a book, because you sound dumb as fuck. B, I know you might be emotional, so I'm going to, take that in consideration. But C, even if I was emotional, if my brother points a fucking gun at cops and tries to kill them and actually pulls the trigger, fires at them, I can't blame the cops. It was my brother's fault. So on that tape, another thing, we really, and this is another point that this proves, we have got to look at charter schools, because wherever this guy was educated, he did not get the money's worth for the taxpayers that paid into that, because he's dumb as a box of rocks, you can tell. Hate to say it, but that's just the truth of the matter. But back to my original point. Black Lives Matter is a fake narrative. It is meant to divide us, okay? It is meant to keep working class Americans, the people that pay all the bills in this country, at each other's throats, not paying attention to what is going on Capitol Hill. As long as we're not paying attention to what's going on Capitol Hill, they can run all over us. They can take so much advantage of us. Right now, I've already talked about, the fact that religion's under attack. I've already talked about the fact that law-abiding citizens are under attack. Working class Americans who work hard as hell are under attack. I know myself right now, I'm pulling 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. I get a little break sometimes Saturday and Sundays. We might not work but 8 hours. All that's irrelevant. It's to pay the bills. It's to give myself a better life. It's to give my family a better life. I didn't get here overnight. I had to work a lot of shit that I didn't want to do. I had to work a lot of shifts I didn't want to work. I did it, and that's what it takes. It takes dedication and the want to make this happen. But when we go out and we protest a perfectly justified shooting because of race, and we say, well, a white cop killed a black man, or a black cop killed a white man, or any freaking race you want to throw out there. When we do that, and we are actually just looking at race and not looking at a person's actions, we are going against everything that all of the real American patriots like Martin Luther King, even Malcolm X. I didn't agree with all his ideas, but Malcolm X was still fighting in a time where he needed to fight for equality. And here's what you have to keep in mind. All these great patriots that fought through the Civil Rights Acts, that fought against the Democrats and the Jim Crow laws and segregation. All the patriots that joined up with the Republican Party to fight against the Democrats in the Civil War. When you look at all these great patriots throughout history, it didn't matter if they were black, it didn't matter if they were white, it didn't matter who they were. All that mattered was what was in their heart, and the fact that their moral compass told them, this is not right, I'm gonna fight for this. If I die, I die. I'll put my life on the line to make a difference. That's what these people did. And we're pissing all over that right now. And it pisses me off to no end, because we're pissing all over that. We're pissing all over the country, we're pissing all over the flag, and we're pissing all over all those patriots that put their lives on the line to fight for the civil rights in this country. And I'll tell you, these people that's pissing all over it, they're not worth a shit. They don't contribute to our society. They don't help in any shape, form, or fashion. And I mean, it's just beyond me why we keep allowing it. Hell, you can't go to church. Corona will get you. But you can go out here and damn do this shit. speaking of, during the whole corona pandemic, they were having a block party right there to begin with. I can't go to church. Well, I can, because where I'm at, we can go to church. We don't give a shit. But the point is, where he's at, they can't go to church, but they're out having a block party. You've got somebody who is there with the alleged, I'll say alleged, triple homicide on him. The cops come to get him. His buddy probably helped him pull the alleged triple homicide, obviously, from his actions. Decides he's going to try to pull another triple homicide on the cops. You can't do that. That will get you killed. As I've said before, individual responsibility. If you do not take individual responsibility, do not cry to me, do not piss to me, do not moan to me, do not send me no left-wing propaganda, because I don't want to see the shit. Matter of fact, I sent Apple an email the other day. Quit sending me this left-wing propaganda. I don't want to see it. Fact, point blank, I do not want to see left-wing propaganda. If you're going to send me some facts, if you're going to send me something based on statistics and based on facts, that's fine. Send it. I'll look at it, and I will use my brain, and I'll look at the, the actual facts before me. And, hey, maybe I'm wrong. But if you're going to send me something based on emotion, get that shit out of here. I do not want to see propaganda based on emotion. That is what has ruined so many countries over the years. That's how Hitler got everybody to go after the Jews. I mean, emotional propaganda. That's how Mao took China. Emotional propaganda. That's how they took Venezuela. Emotional propaganda. If you look at all of these societies that were taken over and converted to socialism and communism, it was because of emotional left-wing propaganda. And people ask me why I get so frustrated and so upset about the emotional left-wing propaganda in this country. Well, that is why. Because if people are not smart enough to do the research for themselves, then we end up having a majority say, hey, we want to go this way. And those of us that are sitting there in the minority, even though, we see the trouble that's going to come from it, and we know it's bullshit, we're not going to have a choice but to go along with it unless we want to fight a war. Which, in most cases, we will fight a war before we allow it. But, anyways, you can watch the video for yourself. Nothing I said was untrue. Look at the facts. Don't look at the damn emotional outrage that the emotional response they want you to have. They want you to have an emotional response. 90% of what's showed on all the mainstream media these days is made to get an emotional reaction. That's the reason they edit the clips. They don't show you the whole video. They show you the portions they want you to see. That's the reason they give you all these false narratives, because if you actually go and look up and start really digging into the numbers yourself, you'll see that it's false narratives like hell. And I've done all that research, and the reason I've done all that research is because I'm not going to depend on somebody else to tell me what to believe. I want the information to make up my own mind. I want my mind to be free. I hope there's a lot more of you out there that want to free your mind. I hope there's a lot more of you out there that want to join me with the freedom. And as I've said so many times, I don't give a shit what color you are. I don't care who you sleep with. None of that shit matters to me. I care that you're a working class American, that you do what you're supposed to do. And not everybody's a saint. God forbid. I know that. Okay? I'm not a saint. But there's a difference in getting yourself into a little trouble over a mishap or over something that can only harm you, and going out and committing violent crimes against innocent people. I can even understand violent crimes against someone who has wronged your family to an extent. If somebody comes up, my mama calls me up and tells me, hey, Billy Bob from down the street came up and kicked the dog and punched me in my mouth. Well, me and Billy Bob's going to have a problem right that second. I'm not going to call the cops. I'm going to go through Billy Bob's front door. That's the way that works. So I can even understand committing crimes of that nature. What I cannot understand is committing crimes against innocent people who are defenseless. I will never be able to understand that. I feel like if you're going to go out there and rob somebody who can fight you back. At least make it a sport. If you're going to go out there and you're just going to try to kill random people, Don't go after kids. Come after somebody like me. Make it a sport. I don't believe in going out. Now, I can hunt. I can kill animals if I need to eat them. I don't believe in killing anything unless there's a purpose for it. And when I say purpose, I don't mean because you want what they have. If we were, say, at war, I'm out in the woods, I'm off the grid, I'm living off the land, I've dumped all of my shit, I got burner phone, if that, old school burner phone, if that, maybe. And I'm not even sure I'd have that. I'd probably go back to the radio wave days and CB, probably. But if I'm living off the grid and I'm out in the woods somewhere, I've got to eat. I'm going to have plenty of water with me, but I have to eat. So if I got to kill rabbits, squirrels, deer, whatever, I'm going to do that. There's a purpose for it at that point. I don't believe in killing just to prove how badass you are. I don't believe in killing just to prove that you're a man, that you're hard. I don't believe in none of that shit. You want to prove you're hard? Take what you got and go help someone else. You want to prove that you're, if you want to prove you're a man, take what you've got and go help someone else. If you want to prove that you're hard, I'll tell you how to do that. Get up, go on down to the military recruiting office, sign up for infantry, like so many soldiers have done over the years. And the next time a battle pops off, you'll be right there on the front lines. That'll prove how hard you are. Going and killing somebody unarmed, that don't prove shit to me. I've said this many times, and I'm gonna say it many more times. We have a Second Amendment for a reason. Anybody who's around me knows that if someone comes for me, I'm not gonna be an easy target. You can bet I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight with everything I've got. And I never leave myself open and unarmed for that reason. It don't matter if I'm taking a shower. It don't matter if I'm on the toilet. It don't matter if I'm sitting there eating lunch. I'm not gonna leave myself open. I'm gonna be ready in case a situation pops off. Why? Because I was not always a saint either. Something from 20 years ago could come back and affect me today. So I have to be ready. But my marriage, my daughter, it changed me to a different person. At that point, I decided I want things in life for my family, and I made it happen. And I came from nothing. If I can do it, anybody else out there can. So all this bullshit ass narrative, throw it out, people. Working class Americans pay the bills. We do what it takes to get the job done in this country, and we can make miracles happen. We've got to figure out how to organize and stick together to do what's best for us for a change. There used to be a huge middle class in this country, and it has been decimated and destroyed by all of the left-wing ideology. If we lose the Senate, I would love to get the House back. Doubt it'll happen. But if we lose the Senate and we lose the presidency, the left-wing ideology that is destroying all of these big urban cities right now will take off across the country. And then at that point, they will want to push those ideas, those failing ideas that have broken those cities both financially and physically. They will want to push those ideas across the country. And at that point, I don't think it can be reversed. And the reason being is because they're going to do shit like stack courts, change Washington, D.C. to a state instead of the actual area it is, which is a federal area. They're going to try to manipulate everything to where at that point you will not have a two-party system. You'll have a one-party socialist system. And everybody will either get on board or we'll have to fight a war. We've got to avoid that. The only way to avoid that, as bad as some people might hate what Trump does, and as bad, and trust me, I'm right there with you on the Republicans. They're spineless as hell. I hate them bastards. but their policies are closer to the Constitution and what needs to be done for working class Americans. But Trump's an asshole. Trump's a womanizer. Trump's been a playboy. He's cheated on every woman he's ever been with. God knows he's got his problems, but that's not why I want Trump in office. I want Trump in office for his policies. His policies are helping us rebuild our country to where every man, woman, and child of every race can elevate themselves. There will be a job out there for you. The jobs are coming back from the rest of the world. You can find that good job, even if you've got a not so stellar history. Find that good job, get the mentality, I want to do something, and you can be whatever you want. And the rollback on the government regulation, and the taking us out of all these bullshit things around the globe, say FTA or free trade agreement, Paris Climate Accord, all these things that actually destroy this country financially and keep us from being able to keep business here, all that's gone away. The second the Democrats take the House and the Senate, all that comes back. Then half the people working now will lose their job. Folks, we got to get together. We got to wake up. Hated to go on a rant tonight. I got to be up in a few hours and go back to work 7 days a week. That's how it goes. But the way I feel right now is if I don't do this and I don't speak out and I don't tell everybody stuff, I have people all the time who actually don't know a lot of stuff. All they know is what the mainstream media tells them. And whenever, they bring it up around me or they ask me questions about it, I tell them all the time, don't take my word for it. I can show you where to get the information. Go look for yourself. Look at the facts. Look at the facts, people. Quit taking these bullshit narratives for what they are. Because if you look right now in Detroit, that bullshit narrative just told on itself. God bless. Have a good night.